To begin with, we have this concept of the people from other planets as little green men. Are they green from what you know? Are they all the same? Help us out.
Unfortunately, they're not so benevolent.
A fucking alien.
What's good? Welcome here for 51 here with your host Jimmy. Another day in the jungle. Give us a like, subscribe, and also become part of a community here and go there at boxing.com for more news and stories. All right, so this is the topic that I wanted to cover a long time ago. And, you know, I always thought that the career, or at least how they're trying to manage Gervonta Davis, was kind of like they were trying to manage Canelo Alvarez and even Floyd Mayweather Jr. Canelo Alvarez, for example, we know that he is really good at giving rehydration clauses. And we just found out that Mario Barrios also had a rehydration clause, and so did Ryan Garcia. So when I started to look at things like that, like Antonio Tarver cleverly said, rehydration clauses should be illegal, and I agree with that. They should just be, you can fight at a catch weight, that's okay, but not with a rehydration clause. But that's not really the topic. The topic is, will Gervonta Davis duck black fighters? And this is something that we can definitely say is happening from Latino fighters like Pitbull Cruz, like William Cepeda, and other boxers as well who are Latinos. They are ducking black fighters. And I think there's no question about that. For example, Canelo Alvarez has always ducked Demetrius Andrade. He actually could have become an undisputed champion in 160, make history for Mexico. They've never had a middleweight champion. And completely ducked Demetrius Andrade for $40 million, which was outrageous that he did that, and fought Kovalev with a rehydration clause. Once again, these rehydration clause. So we know that a lot of Latino fighters are doing this. Jaime Munguia is one of them too. He's also ducked Demetrius Andrade, Jermall Charlo, etc., etc. But what's also true is that black fighters are also avoiding black fighters. And we can give an example with Jermall Charlo not fighting anybody. He didn't want to fight Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade offered him a $7 million contract through Eddie Hearns when he was with the Zone. Matchroom, he never responded to that request. He then said he was going to fight David Benavidez. David Benavidez is not black, but, you know, he didn't want to fight him. So you get these cases with black fighters as well. But the thing with Gervonta Davis, which I never liked and I don't like, is that I can never ride with a fighter like him. He had a chance when he was in 130 to fight fighters like Tevin Farmer. He could have fought Gary Russell, who called him out. And I know Gary Russell is not afraid of Gervonta Davis because he took on Vasyl Lomachenko in his prime. And that was a really good fight, okay? I know Gary Russell is not afraid because he took Jojo Diaz. And Jojo was one of the few fighters that wanted to fight him. So I know that Gary Russell wanted that fight. I spoke to him as well. I actually interviewed him once here. And a lot of fighters just didn't want to fight Gary Russell. Leo Santa Cruz, once again, avoiding black fighters. But to be honest, Gervonta Davis could have fought Gary Russell Jr. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. never wanted to take that fight. Also, we could have seen in 130 his fight with Tevin Farmer. I thought that would have been a good fight. I think Tevin Farmer is a good fighter when he starts to box. But we never got to see that fight. He did duck Vasyl Lomachenko as well, so we do know that. He did duck Vasyl Lomachenko 130. Vasyl Lomachenko was calling him a coward, telling him, speak to your manager, Floyd, to see if you grow a pair to fight me. Whatever. He was humiliating him, and Gervonta didn't take that fight. But then when he moved to 135, he had plenty of chances to fight Devin Haney, and he never took that fight. He never took the fight with Devin Haney, and Devin Haney wants him. Devin Haney wants to fight. He's giving him the opportunity to become an undisputed champion. Before he made this fight with Vasily Lomachenko, he said that if they were to force a mandatory, speak to the WBA and force the mandatory, we'll fight you. But Gervonta Davis didn't want to take that fight. Prior to that, before fighting against Mario Barrios, the name of Regis Prograis was also on the table. And Regis Prograis would have been a far better fight for Gervonta Davis than Mario Barrios as far as his legacy is concerned, because Regis is a dangerous fighter. He has a dangerous style. But he still went for Mario Barrios. So, what does this tell me about Gervonta Davis? Listen, he is a technical fighter. He's shown his class with Dominican fighters like Hector Garcia. He beat Leo Santa Cruz. He beat Ryan Garcia and Ronda Romero. Right? Ronda Romero is a dirty boxer, but he did beat him. But it is true that he doesn't have a black fighter who is elite in his resume. And you cannot get away from that. If he is this champion, he needs to fight his own as well. Because his own have shown to be the elite of boxing right now. It's not the Latino fighters. It's the black fighters. The American black fighters. And he needs to fight these fighters. He needs to fight a Devin Haney. He's going to have to fight a Shakur Stevenson. But he's going to have to fight a Keyshawn Davis. Or a Frank Martin. But he's going to have to fight one of these guys. But I feel, in my estimation, that this is going to be similar to what Floyd and Canelo Alvarez did during their time when they avoided themselves black fighters too, especially undefeated fighters. Okay, Floyd ducked Keith Thurman for 2 years. I remember that. Keith Thurman was a manager, never wanted him. He could have fought Paul Williams. He decided to retire around that year. Could have fought Paul Williams. He could have fought Paul Spadafora during this time, but as we all know, Spadafora, was going through some drug issues, and then when he was getting older, he wanted to fight him. So this is the same thing I've seen with Canelo trying to fight Kovalev or Gennady Golovkin. Just these sort of fighters, they're not really old school fighters. They're not looking to challenge themselves and become the best. They're not like the Sugar Ray Robinsons. They're not like the Ike Williams. They're not like the Butte Jacks. They're not like the Freddie Steeles. These fighters today is like they get commercially big out of a fight like Ryan Garcia, but that's not really what the challenge is. The challenge is, what are you going to do with Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney or Keyshawn Davis? This is the fights that I want to see as a boxing aficionado. Because I know that Ryan Garcia will lose against all those fighters. I already said that before I gave my prediction. I said this for a long time. But if you're not fighting these fighters, and we're all accusing Teofimo Lopez of ducking black fighters, which he has. I mean, Teofimo Lopez has ducked black fighters. There's no question about that. You also got to put that same responsibility on Gervonta Davis. This is true, okay? There's no reason why he's not fighting black fighters. There's no reason whatsoever. And I believe that he will lose against many of these fighters. I think he would have lost against Gay Russell Jr. Call me crazy, but I believe he would have lost against him. I believe, Tevin Farmer would have given him a good fight. I think Devin Haney would have beat him. So he needs to step up and fight these fighters. But is he going to do it? Probably not. He's going to fight, according to Calvin Ford, his coach, Pitbull Cruz again. A rematch with Pitbull Cruz, just doesn't make any sense. I do not want to see a rematch with Pitbull Cruz because he beat him fair and square. There was no controversy in my eyes. He beat him well. I mean, Pitbull Cruz started to grow on him and, launched those body shots, which I think kind of stunned a little bit the movement of Gervonta Davis, but Gervonta Davis was still able to beat him. But that's not the fight that I want to see. And I think that as a boxing fan, you got to decide what part of boxing do you really like. Are you really want to take the route of these prize fighters who are taking the fights that they believe they're going to win? Is this the type of boxing that we want? Or are we going to take it the competitive way where we see the most dangerous fighters trying to fight the most dangerous fighters to, become the best in their division, to clean their division, to wipe it out and say, I am the undisputed champion, like, for example, Devin Haney has, right? Which route do you want to do? If we're going by the prize fighters and, giving them that advantage, then I think we're destroying the sport, because then everybody can duck. I mean, you cannot accuse Teofimo Lopez or Canelo Alvarez of ducking black undefeated fighters when Gervonta Davis is doing the same thing. You can't do that. You cannot do that. It doesn't work that way. And I don't like Canelo. I've been the most advocate in having this guy kicked out of boxing because he's destroyed the sport of drug cheat, you name it. Gennady Golovkin, same thing, avoiding fighters too. I'm not with this shit. I like old school boxing. I'm a person that used to watch a lot of boxing in the 90s. And I never experienced the amount of ducking that I'm seeing today. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's just so obvious that, we can't let Gervonta Davis say, we can't say Gervonta Davis is the star if he's avoiding his own kind, which tend to be the elite of boxing nowadays. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. Okay, we gotta use our mind a little bit here. And then if you're accusing these Latino fighters, but to say, okay, they don't fight black fighters, and it's true, many of them don't. Many of them don't. These are facts. But now, are black fighters fighting black fighters? This is the question now. But Gervonta Davis is put up in this pedestal, and he's never even become undisputed champion. He's never even cleaned his own division. So this is a problem, and I think this needs to be addressed. I want to see him against Devin Haney. I do not want to see him against Pitbull Cruz. That makes absolutely no sense. If they're saying that they're going to make more money with Pitbull Cruz, they are lying. This is for an undisputed championship at 135. And it's for all the belts. I mean, you can't make... I mean, this is for legacy. This is for all the belts. This is for all the belts. If you're not fighting him, you should fight Shakur Stevenson. Because Shakur Stevenson says that a fight between you and him will be a Leonard Hagler type of fight. And I believe it will be a great fight. I have actually Shakur Stevenson beating him. But I don't know. I don't know how or what's going to be the result. But what I do know is that if they don't fight, we'll never know. That's for sure. So the fans of Gervonta Davis have to put more responsibility in him. And they need to know that right now, even though he did beat these fighters, none of these fighters are going to be in the Hall of Fame at the end of the day. Devin Haney, after being undisputed, has more of a chance to be in the Hall of Fame than any of the fighters that he's fought so far. And that's what's going to make his legacy. But if he's picking these Latino fighters, it's honestly a waste of time for us, the boxing fans, and and he's wasting time for. I mean, he's hurting his legacy, and it's just because a lot of these fighters, they just don't want to lose and transfer their wealth and their power to somebody else, because you, the fans, have destroyed the sport by allowing these fighters to do whatever they want, telling them they're the A side, B side, following the promotional and the promoters' marketing and scheme to see boxing. You see, because you're seeing boxing not as a boxing fan. They transform you into watching boxing into pretty much a marketing scheme. You should see boxing how we see boxing, but that's not how other sports work. Okay, that's not the Portland Trailblazers. They suck as a team. They're not going to have a chance to fight the semifinal, play the semifinals. If, let's say, the Phoenix Suns go to the semifinals, why? Because they never made it there. So if Portland was Pitbull Cruz, how is he getting a fight against the semifinalists like Gervonta Davis? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Common sense, man. Common sense. So let's see what happens. Give us a like here. Subscribe to The Realist here in GoldenAirBoxing.com. And we'll check you in the next story. And also check GoldenAirBoxing.com for more news and stories. Peace out. And I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.